Okay folks, welcome to this week's short version of our Outfitter Tales continuing saga, Life of Professional Stalkers. You'll probably gather, well you won't gather, but you will in a minute because I'm going to tell you, I'm on my own this week. My partner in crime, alias Rab Miller, he's off chasing stags around, basically for about 3.5 weeks really. It's a really busy time for us, as you probably imagine, we're coming into the red rut. Very busy here. I'm actually having to work for a living and take people out stalking, so it's only me this week. In view of that and time frame and filming and material, we're going to bring you a clip. It's very current actually, so we've got an archive clip of rutting stags up on the hill in Perthshire some years ago now. I quite like this clip actually, and bizarrely the rut that particular year, can't remember what year it was really poor simply because it was so warm. Very, very mild, unusually mild, even late into October. Very warm, as you'll see. Here, this year, we've had completely the opposite. It's been very, very wet and is now very, very cold. Now, the cold weather's great for the rut. It really brings the rutting stags on, especially the seeker. But warm is odd. Very wet is not helpful, not particularly for the stags, for the stalker, but we are actually getting a bit of dry weather. In fact, just in the background, my neighbour's been panicking like mad that he wasn't getting the last of his winter barley in because it's just not dried out. Well, he's whizzing around now on the machine, gathering it in. So, what I want to do in these shorts normally is answer a few questions from people that have written in, so I'm going to cover a few answers to sort of questions or observations that people have made at the end of this. But first off, I think we'll start with the rutting stag clip, and hope you enjoy it. This dog, do you? Where you got that from? Nice stag just come across in front of us, coming back into the wood. I think there's a group of hinds up over there. There's like a bit of dead ground here, and then there's kind of a base, quite favourite for the hinds, lying in there during the day. So we're going to sort of work up the wood edge and just see if we can get a look into there, just see if there's anything in there. Wind is just coming across us, so the wind's in our favour at the moment. So we'll see if there is anything there.
along that ridge top. Oh, they're all coming out behind. That'll be trouble in a minute. Coming back on the ridge again now, although that one over there is having a challenge. Where's it going to go? Another stag there. There's 3 of them fighting. I think I'm favouring just following this gully out. You lose it, I know, but there's... Yeah, there's a... I could either walk straight or I could just be better off drop back and we'll use cover, but it won't surprise me if there ain't something in here. Just work up because they're just laid on there and then there's up on the top. Stags coming in. Yep. Young stag. Got it. See ya. Yeah. Dead, good girl. Okay, so towards the end of the rut, you can see there's a lot of activity going on now. The big lads are really hard at it, and some of the big boys, the real big boys, are about spent. But you've got a lot of activity going on. You've got some of the youngsters gaining a bit of courage and coming into the back end. We don't know we got too much of that on footage, but we've got some stags really going at it hammer and tong here. And this is a big stag holding a group of hinds out here, and one of them's literally just getting ready for covering. And while he's fighting like Billy-o with 2 or 3 other stags being drawn into it, we were trying to make a bit of ground up, and then there's another biggish stag come in and he's covered the hind that was in season, so he's fighting and he's shagging. So he dipped out there a bit. I'm not for shooting any of the bigger stags now, they're all right. But this is one. I don't like these at this stage. These stags, if they get to scrapping, they can do some real damage, and I've seen some nasty injuries with those. So out of all that group of stags, that's the one that I want to shoot, and so we've taken him. Nice, good prone shot from there, but it's only 670 yards, and I just had a real stable platform, so we've taken a central neck shot and just went down like a sack of spuds. So we got a bit of a long recovery. Fortunately, we can get the bike in from right across the other side of the hill. too old for lifting them in on my own. 1, 2, 3, yep. Okay. Yep. Perfect. And then the other thing we're doing is we're still continuing to take the survey, the tick survey with Public Health England. So we're still actually taking blood samples. So I actually took a sample from the red, which involves a sample of blood and a tick sample with some of the details about where the deer were, and sent that off. So actually quite a good afternoon, and we did manage to get something on film that we've been trying to do for quite a while.
Well, I remember that distinctly. That was a great day out on the hill. I really enjoyed that, seeing sort of the interaction. But anyway, hope you enjoyed it as well. So, a couple of questions. Peter Hooper from Norway, I mean, we're actually getting quite a wide reach now, commented on the suspended growler, and he very much enjoyed the suspended growler demonstration video I did, which was kind of preparation for level 2. And actually that was about 12 years ago, so it's high time we did another one, brought it up to date, a bit more current, which we will do. But one of the things he was saying is the suspended growler, it's not something that he was very familiar with in Europe, but thought it was a great way to handle a roe, and he's sort of spreading the good word about it, and sort of asked me why particularly I favour it, which pretty much is the same as him really. I think it's, with a smaller deer species, it's very clean, it's very hygienic, you can hang the deer up, so for the thoracic bleed, the blood's going down into the cavity, so it makes a very effective thoracic bleed. Both hands are free to operate and open the carcass. Some don't open the full carcass. I open the pelvic bone, if you like, and split the carcass to bring the anus forward and then out, so there's no potential contamination. So I just think, all in all, for me, it's the best way to carry out a growler. But bear in mind that having suspended a growler can completely open up the carcass for best practice, for hygiene, to comply with food regs, level 2, whatever you want. You don't want to be dragging that. You can't be dragging that carcass. So if you're going to do that type of growler, then you must have a method of transporting the deer back to the larder. Whether that be in a row sack, which is what I use, the Apex Predator, with a clean, each time there's a clean bag in there, so the carcass is completely enclosed, doesn't actually touch the floor, so it comes down off the hooks, into the bag, draw string, over my back to the truck, in the tray. I take it out of the bag to put it in the carcass tray in the vehicle, that's to allow cooling, so I'll lay it on its back, kind of open, so airflow around it, and in the back of my truck, you've got little window lights that you can open, so again, airflow while you're driving back home. But the other question he asked me as well, which I want to cover, is rough order of the growler, if you like, time frame. Now, first of all, best practice guidelines has, for level 2, you really, if possible, in an ideal world, take the carcass back into the larder. So if you're fairly close to the estate larder or home, bleed in the field, because that starts the cooling process, and then take the deer back to a larder where you've got facilities, clean environment, tools, etc. to complete the growler. In my case, mostly dealing with roe anyway, I'm a long way from home, so that's where I need to do the growler in the field, get everything opened up, cooling off, and then carry the deer back to the larder. And the other thing, obviously, is for the larger species, clearly you're going to have to do your traditional field growler or hill growler, which is basically on the floor, and that method. So nice to see we're reaching Norway, and again, we will do an update. It's not updated because there's very little change. A few changes to procedure in terms of who you report to, who you see notifiable, a few things at the moment kicking around with Bluetooth and that sort of thing. So we'll kind of bring it up to date, and hopefully sometime in the not too distant future, we'll cover that. The other question I'll cover is basically James Hoffman mentioned face veils, and he never, again, watching the shooting show and now Outfitters Tales, you never see me wearing a face veil, and I know a lot of stalkers do, camouflage face veil and all the rest of it. If I'm honest, when I first started, I read all the same books as everybody else, and I did start wearing a face veil. I very quickly found that really it's more about fieldcraft, and if you're moving correctly, if you're using the available cover, it really makes not a jot of difference whether you've got a face, in the main, most scenarios, whether you've got a face covering on or not. However, I'll temper that. I generally stalk once we start to get into cooler weather with a buff around my neck, which normally sits there, but I do have the ability to pull that up if need be. When would I use that? Winter, those bright winter days when you've got really anticyclonic, and you look at a roe deer in commercial conifer block on the other side of a valley with the sun behind you shining on it, and it's anal touch, the white arse of a roe or a buck come to that, stands out like a Belisha beacon. The sun is picking it up. If you reverse that process and have the roe on this side and me stalking on that side with sun shining on this physog, poof, you do stand up like a Belisha beacon. So that's one occasion. If I'm coming down with the sun on me like that, where you really movement is accentuated because it's a bit like having a really great torch shining out, then I will wear that then. And then the other occasion, similar scenario, perhaps if you're in a high seat, you sat still, try not to attract attention to yourself. Again, you've got the low sun coming down, it's shining on your face. It does tend to beam you up a little bit, because the one thing that deer will pick up on is movement. So tend to cover my hands, gloves, hands moving, bit sort of shine out, and that's the occasion that I'll wear a face mask. Now, that's what works for me. I don't care if you want to wear face masks, wear face masks. To me, I've never found it actually makes any difference, and it's really, if you're wearing a face mask and you're fully cammed up and you're moving around, like jumping around like a blinking frog hopping all over the place, deer will pick you up anyway, because it's the movement that they're zoning into actually more than any sort of colour palette. So that's my thought on the subject, and I've been stalking without a face mask for well over 20 odd years now, rather than the occasions when I mention it. So I don't think I need to wear one. And probably that's about it. So it's not been that short really when you put all this lot together. So just remember, keep on watching. Please keep subscribing to the Outfit Tale YouTube, because that helps us. The more subscribers, the better it is for us. Remember, we're coming to the end of the draw for the Brandy Cost boots, which I believe we're going to announce in next week's full show. So get on with it, enter, like, and send to a friend on the social media channels for our channels, and subscribe to the Brandy Cost newsletter, and then we will announce the draw. We'll announce the winner, I'm pretty sure, next week. And next week, just while I'm on that, we've got a cracker for you. I've had Angelo with me, a great character, 83 years old almost, a fantastic life story. We've done an interview with him, filmed him many times, he's visited me many times. You've probably read about him in Shooting Times because I've written about him, and if you watch the shooting show you'll have seen him on that a few times, but what a character. So we're going to bring you a real nice piece about Angelo, and a bit of his background and some of the early material that he filmed, because he's a fascinating character and it'd be well worth a watch. So don't forget to tune in to next week. And it's not good night from me and good night from him this week, it's just a good night from me, and as always, watch this space.